Good morning, class. Am I audible to you people? Is it okay now? Can you hear me? Okay. I hope the screen also is visible to everyone. Okay, pretty good. We'll quickly move on to our sessions of IoT today. If you remember sessions, we had started with your programming of your Raspberry Pi and we had completed of programming. We have started with Linux, whereas and we had completed the architecture of Raspberry Pi. That is the hardware part as well as the software installation. I hope everyone remembers. We had completed even about Raspbian Pi, and we had started with the basic commands of Linux. So before moving ahead, we'll take a quick review test for you people. So for that, I have questions on my slides. I'll be projecting it along with the options, and you're supposed to answer accordingly in the chat box, whether it is option A, B, C, or D, depending upon the options provided. Is it okay with everyone? Okay. Uh, so let's start. This is your first question that I'm projecting it. Who is the founder of Raspberry Pi Foundation? You have four options for that. Just punch in the correct option in the chat panel. Excellent. Good. Everyone has given the correct answer. That is Eben Opton. The next question I'm posting is, what is the Ethernet or LAN cable used in RPI? Great. Good to go. I can see that many of you are not answering, whereas and only few who are common students are answering. I would ask everyone. I have 72 participants, and out of 72 participants, I have only 25 people answering. So please, okay, I'll project the next question. Does micro SD cards are present in all modules of Raspberry Pi? Everyone has answered yes, it is true that it is present in all modules of. You people are correct. The next question for you people: how many USB ports are present in Raspberry Pi Model 3? Is it 5? Is it 3? Is it 4? Or is it 2? Are you sure? They were only, as compared to your answers, what you have answered in bulk. You people are saying there are only two USB ports. Were there only two USB ports? Think again. Check in this question, it is not mentioned which type of USB ports, whether it was 3.0 or whether it was 2.0. It is just giving you a general question saying that how many number of USB ports. So with how many number of USB ports, you need to tell me all immaterial of the versions. So for this, I have mixed answers. People have answered even 5, even they have answered 4, even they had answered 2. There is only two people who have answered even B, that is 3. Let's see. Check, you had 4 USB ports. 2 was 3.0 version, whereas in other two were 2.0 version. Next question is, what is the default user in Debian of Raspberry Pi? That is Raspberry Pi OS, Raspbian OS. What was the default username? Still, I can see only one fourth part of the class is active. What about others? Are they sleeping? Yes, majority of you are correct, and that's pi. Now, in your previous sessions, we had seen few commands of Linux: how to change the directory, how to check in which present directories to install the you are, and so on and so forth. We'll continue with the session. Am I audible to you people right now? Okay. We'll move ahead. We'll continue with your Raspberry Pi and Linux commands. I'll be taking up the basic commands that are necessary for executing your Raspberry Pi. I'll not go into the depth of the Linux commands as you have already done Linux as a separate paper in your first year. So let's proceed ahead with the next command, which is there. It's pwd. The command is called as present working directory. This gives you the name, the path of the directory in which you are working. Now, if you remember, cd command was for your change directory. If you have changed the directory, you get to know the path in the prompt between the tilde sign and the dollar. So within that range, the full path is shown. In case still if you want to print and confirm in which path you are, you'll have to type down pwd. What is the default path of Raspberry Pi? I want you to type down in chat panel. What is the default path of Raspberry Pi? Good. And the alternative is with symbol, which is the alternative. Great. So if I'm standing in the default directory and I type down pwd, I'll get the output as slash home slash pi. So this is what the output is going to be visible when you are inside your home directory and you're typing down pwd. So you have to just simply type down pwd. If I have changed the directory to this particular using cd command, change directory command, and then I type down pwd, what will be the output? Now I've changed the directory to tilde SYCS M3 2020 slash batch B0 slash roll number 4 ones. After pressing enter, and I now type down pwd. So what would be the answer for that? Check. Now this was my cd tilde slash SYCS sim 3 2020 slash batch d0 slash roll number. So after this, my prompt will change to, if you remember how your terminal was looking like, was this. And in this, if I type down pwd, what will I get is I get the output as slash home slash pi. Instead of tilde, it is going to print the whole path, followed by the directory in which you're already changed the one. So this is gonna be your output. Is it clear? But then when I am after this, if I type down in my prompt as cd tilde, what would my prompt change to? It will be back again to my original prompt, to the home directory. And if now again I type down pwd over here, I'm going to get output as. So check, if you change the directory and you want to know in which current directory you're working, the command is pwd. Moving on to the next one, for creating your directories, if you want to create new folders, new directories, you require mkdir, make directory. This will allow you to create the directory or the folder. If I It will take up your syntax as the command name. You have the command name as mkdir. New dir is the name of the folder, name of the directory that you need to mention. So the general syntax is mkdir followed by the directory name. So the general syntax for mkdir command, and this is the argument that has been passed for mkdir, and this name will be given to the folder. So if I am inside one of the folders, say suppose on home pi itself, in my pi directory, the default directory, and when I fire this command mkdir new directory, it is going to create the folder in that particular default directory. Similarly, new dir1 and so on and so forth. Check, this is how my hierarchy is going to look like. I was inside your home, inside pi, this was my default directory. I had fired these two commands, mkdir new dir, it has created a new folder. Can you check the hierarchy? This particular is indented inside the pi. So now pi has new dir and new dir1. This is fine. So the path for new dir and new dir1 is slash home slash pi followed by new dir and new dir1. So wherever you're currently standing and you're firing mkdir within that particular directory, the new directory is being created. Moving on ahead with one more example of mkdir. Now I have considering pwd is my new dir. That means I have changed my directory and my current directory is new dir1. New dir1, the whole path for new dir1 was, can you tell me from this hierarchy what is the path of new dir1? I had fired the command cd space new dir1. So can you tell me after that, if I type down pwd, what will be the path? I want you to type down in chat panel. Great. Only two students are able to answer. After coming inside your new directory, if I want to create recursive directories, that means one folder inside the other, the hierarchy. Now check, I have over here as dir1, dir2, dir3. I want dir1 should be inside new dir1, dir2 should be inside dir1, should be inside new dir1, dir2 should be inside dir1, dir3 should be inside dir2. But I do not want to create one by one at a time. That means my creation of mkdir. One option is, how would I create this? So being in the directory of new dir one, I'll fire first command as mkdir dir1. So this was going to create the new directory, that is dir1 inside dir new dir1. Then I'll have to do cd dir1. I'm now inside dir1. Then again I'll have to create second directory. Then again I'll have to change the directory and come inside the second directory. Then again I'll have to create third directory. And then finally I'll have all three directories dir1, within that dir2, within that dir3. But then this involves your 5 commands. We don't want to do that. If I want to do this all at once, though if this directory is created, if this already exists, it will create directly the new directory within it. If it is not existing, it will create that directory, and then this will be created within that, and then followed by this. So in with the P option, it gives you the recursive corrections of your creating directories. So hyphen P is the option which will allow you to recursively create the directories and the subdirectories immaterial of whether the main parent directory is existing or not. If it doesn't exist, it will create one. If it exists, it is going to put up in the same directory. So when I'll see the output of this particular in my hierarchical view, what will we be seeing is, we already had new dir1, dir1, dir2, and dir3 were not existing. So hyphen p has created all the three directories. Directory 3 is the subdirectory of directory 2. Directory 2 is subdirectory of directory 1, and directory 1 was inside your new directory 1. Is hyphen p option clear to everyone? Because this will be required throughout your practicals when you will be asked to recursively create the multiple directories. Any queries in recursive creations? Shall I move ahead? Okay. Then the next command is remove directory. In case if you want to delete the directory, rmdir is the command that will allow you to remove the empty directories. That means the folders should be empty. The directory should be empty. It should not have any files. It should not have any content. Then only rmdir will work and it will allow you to remove the directory. So if you have this and I remove, check, new dir1 was not empty. New dir1 had three folders, three directories, dir1, dir2, dir3. So I cannot remove that. I have to, if to have to remove new dir1, then I'll have to remove first dir1. To remove dir1, I have to remove first dir2. To remove dir2, I have to first remove dir3. Then only it will be possible in the reverse fashion to remove new directory 1. But then whereas in if I fire rmdir, new directory, this one, it was single directory, so I can remove that because it didn't contain any contents within that. Neither it has any subfolders, subdirectories, nor it has any files within that. This is clear. Now if I do this, it is going to give me the error saying that new dir1 cannot be removed because it is not empty. So you'll get an error prompt for new dir1 in this case. So this cannot be fired. For firing this, we'll require few options with the remove directory. We'll see that later. This is fine. Make sure that the directory is empty. Next command is cat command, which is also called as concatenate command, appending command. This gives you the list of the content of a file. If a file exists with some content within that, and if you want to read that file, if you want to see the view the contents of that file, so it gives you the only view option for viewing the contents of the file. For example, assuming file1.txt is present and I'm firing the command as cat file1.txt. So whatever is present in file1.txt, the output will be displayed on the console. If I do cat file1.txt space file2.txt space file3.txt, this is going to append the output on the console as the contents of file1 followed by contents of file2 followed by contents of file3. So there is no restriction on the number of arguments, number of files that you want to pass in the cat command. Now, in case if I fire this cat space star.txt. So in that directory, whichever text files are there, having the extension as .txt, it is going to display all the contents of that particular txt file. So if you have 100 text files having the extension as .txt in that particular folder, in that particular directory, and you fire cat star.txt, it is going to display all the outputs of those 100 txt files one below the other. So star over here is the while character that is used for all. Star stands for all the txt files, all the text files. You're supposed to concatenate one after the other. So the output would be all 100 text files of that particular current folder in which you're having or in which your present directory is. The next command is tag command, the reverse of cat, CAT, TAC. As the name itself is the reverse of cat command, so it will print the content in the reverse order: line 1, line 2, line 3. If I have these three contents in my file, cat is going to print line 1, line 2, and line 3, whereas in tac is going to print line 3, line 2, line 1 in the reverse from fashion. Cat is going to print top to bottom, tac is going to print bottom to top. So the syntaxes are same. Either you give the file name or you give the path. Services is the path name. So if I type down tags slash etc slash services, this is your service file which is already present on your Linux machine. It is going to give you all the listing of your services in the reverse order. So if the file, usually the file is in the alphabetical order A to Z. The cat command will give you the output in the form of A to Z alphabetical order, whereas in the tag command will give you Z to A, the reverse fashion. Tag command comes up with the option as -n in case if you do not want to display the full contents of the file. Now first command is going to give you the full contents of the file. If you want only first 10 lines or first 20 lines, you'll need the option as n. N stands for number of lines. Tag space hyphen n space, you require the number to be prompted. So if you put up 20, it is going to give the first 20 lines from the bottom of this particular file, that is pass pwd slash, which is present inside your slash etc. So password file, the shadow files are present in this, whereas in your usernames, passwords, sessions, everything is being stored in these files. And I'm printing 20 lines. Check, since it is using tag command, it is going to print from the bottom 20 lines. there are two more commands which are similar to your cat and tag, that is head. Head is same as cat. So if you want to display the data from the beginning, from the top of the file till the end, you have head. So in case if you want to print all the contents, you can use cat. In case if you want to print only few lines, first few lines, so you can print the using head also. So head slash etc slash services, this is same as cat space slash etc slash services. So it is going to give you the full content of that particular service file. Whereas and if you put up head space hyphen n, the number and the file, check, tag also was having hyphen n, the number followed with your actual number, how many number of lines you want to print. Even head has that option called as hyphen n. So first n lines, that is 20 lines from the top, the head is going to print and give you. Easy to remember, head from the top, whereas in tail gives you the reverse fashion. This is similar equivalent output of your tag. It gives you the lines, the number of lines displayed from the bottom of the file. So from bottom to top, similar to your tag. Again, the commands have the same syntaxes, only the command name is tail. So if I type tail hyphen n 1 slash etc slash pass wd, it is going to print only the last line of that particular file. Four commands are in conjunction: cat, tag, head, tail. These are used for displaying the contents of the file on the console. So if you want to see the file in Linux, you have to use either of these commands. Are these four commands clear to everyone? Though I have not taken up the examples in depth, but then I'm just asking for the syntax. Is it clear? Pretty good. So if the syntaxes of cat, tag, head, and tail are clear, I have few questions for you. Let's see with the examples. There is another command apart from your displaying, that is echo. Echo is also going to display the content of the file. Check, I'm using these commands all at once because this is just related to one category, and the category is displaying the contents on the console, viewing the contents on the console. So you have these many options in Linux which is present, so any one you can use. Echo, though it displays, but then it has a speciality also, just like your cat. Echo prints the content on the console. If I tell echo space in single quotes hello world, the output of that hello world is going to be printed onto the screen. Check, echo is not taking up the file name. It is interpreter, just is working like your interpreter as your IDLE of Python does. So if you type down print command, print method in the IDLE, and in your brackets you type down hello world, so you get the output and the prompt itself. Similar to that, you have echo over here. Now echo has the speciality. Now check what I have done over here. Echo single space, single inverted commas 4 plus 4, a longer space duration, maybe two tabs or multiple spaces, equals one tab or multiple spaces, 8 single quotes close. So echo is going to treat this as it is. So if you have given 10 spaces, or if you have pressed two tabs, or here if you have pressed five spaces or one tab, it is going to leave as it is. So it is going to act as your pre tag of your web programming. I hope everyone knows what is pre tag, that is pre formatted tags. So whatever formatting inside the echo you will be giving, it is going to accept that, whereas it is not possible with your cat command. It reduces, it removes these spaces. Check, in case if you want to use your character entities such as slash n slash r slash t, These are your character entities. You can use with echo, but then for using these with echo command, you require hyphen E option. So hyphen E is going to understand that slash T means I have to leave one tab space, one more tab space, one more tab space, one more tab space. If I put up slash N after this, it is going to press enter in the file. So this is how the formatting, in case if you want to use your character entities with the echo, can be used. For that, you will have to use the option as hyphen E. So hyphen E is the option available with your echo. Echo commands are okay along with the hyphen E option. Is it clear to you so far? Okay. Let's see with the examples. Now we have seen five commands, that is your cat, tag, head, tail, and echo. Based on that, I have the examples and we'll quickly revise and take your test. Write a single command. Do not use spaces to display exactly the following output and store it in a file named fruits.txt. So I want you to write down one single command. Check, this question has two parts. You have to write down one single command without using spaces or such kind of things to display the exactly the following output. This is what the following output is. This is one part. And the other part is store it in the file named fruits.txt. So initially I'm asking you only this part. Write down a single command. Do not use spaces to display the exact following output. So which command you will write down? I want to type down this as it is, one below the other. Check, after first content you have an enter. After second content you have enter. On the new line you have third option. On the fourth line you have another one. So this should be printed as it is, one below the other. So which command would you use? Are you going to use cat, head, tail, tag, or echo? Echo command would be used. Okay. Now with the echo command, I want to print this one below other. That is, I should have apple in first line, orange in second, third line should have pineapple, fourth line should have mango. So I should have one below the other, and I'm not supposed to use spaces. So for that, I'll be using your slash n operator. That is your new line operator. So how the command will look like? Something of this sort. Echo space hyphen e space apple slash n orange slash n pineapple slash n mango. Check, it is one single line command. I could have even done in this fashion. But then this would be multi-line command. So with the single line, I'll have to use option E. Check. This was allowed. So instead of this, in the question itself, I would have printed enter over here. So this would have been multiple lines. This is your first line, second line, four line commands. But then since I have to use only one single line, I'll have to use the character entities called as slash n. So this is going to give me the output in this fashion. The first part is clear to everyone. Okay. Now the second part, the output of this, I want to store it inside the file named called as fruits.txt. So rather than displaying on the console, the output should be redirected to the file, and the file name is fruits.txt. The redirection operator in Linux is greater than symbol. Check, it is single line command. Now you're seeing two lines because of the size of the PPT is small and the command is too big. So the command is gone on second line, but then in real it is one single line command. This was the initial one, followed by a space. This is called as your redirection operator. Instead of printing this on the console, it is redirecting to this particular file. So whatever is the output of this file, the same output is now going to go inside this fruits.txt file. This greater than symbol is the redirection operator. It is even supported by cat command, the same way the echo is doing. Echo also appends the data in the file. Even cat command with the redirection operator appends the data. So cat command has a facility similar to echo, whereas in head and tail doesn't has this particular operator used. So they cannot use this operator. This operator is only used by echo and cat. Is it okay? So this is going to store the output in the file. So my file fruits.txt will have this as my output. It will store these contents inside it. This is fine. Redirection operator is okay. Like we have seen reading the contents from a file and writing to the file. So for reading you have five options. For writing you have, for time being you have only two options. For reading, I'll repeat: cat, tack, head, tail, echo. For reading. For writing, you have cat and echo for time being. Moving on to head. Now my file fruits.txt contains this content. I have stored the contents in the file using the previous echo command. Now the question for you is, if I fire this command, what will be the output? The contents of the file are these, and I'm firing this command. What would be the output for a display on the console? Good. It is going to display the contents as it is. All the contents of the file will be displayed on the console. Okay. If I type down this command, stack space fruits.txt, what would be the output? Gives you in the reverse fashion from bottom to top. You don't have to type reverse, you have to type down the actual outputs. Yes, correct. This is how it is going to be. Good. Now I'm firing this command. Head hyphen n to fruits.txt. What would be output of this? Will it be apple orange or will it be mango pineapple? Or it will be something else? Great. You people are so excellent. What about this? Tail hyphen n one fruits.txt. Good. Check these commands cat and tac. They are on print commands. That means they are not going to alter my original file. The original file will be as it is. Good. Great. So this will be the output. The commands are fine with everyone. So all five commands echo, cat, tag, head, and tail. We have seen along with the examples in depth. We'll move ahead. The next is copying copy command. That is CP, your favorite command. CP allows you to copy a file and place it at a specified location. Now, here you'll have to be very careful because throughout in your IoT practicals, you will be creating files. Then you'll have to load those files onto your Raspberry Pi. For that, your copy command will be frequently used. So you'll have to be careful, very, very careful with the path that you're going to use. Either you are going to use absolute paths or your reference paths. I hope you remember I had explained absolute path referencing as well as relative path referencing in your previous lecture. So with that, you'll have to be very careful with the copy commands. Once you copy it, the file will be loaded in the directory where you had specified the source and the destination. The general syntax for copy command is CP followed by a space, source, space, destination. Source and destination can take relative paths or absolute paths based on the present working current directory. So you'll have to be very careful. PWD should be the source file path. That means if wherever is your source file, you should be within that directory for the copying. Then only you can use relative referencing on the source. I'll repeat, in copy command, if you are supposed to use, if you're using absolute path, that means you're providing full path in the source part and you're providing the full path of the destination right from slash home slash pi till the end of the file, wherever the file is located for source as well as destination. So there is no problem in case if you're using absolute paths in source position and in destination position. But in case if you decide to use relative path in the source, for that you have to be very careful and make sure that your present working current directory is the path where the file exists. If I assume the fruits.txt file is present inside your batch folder, so I'll have to make my batch folder as the current directory. If the file is present in the roll number folder, I'll have to make the roll number as the current directory. Then only I can use relative paths in the source file. Whereas in the destination, you'll have to have only one option as the absolute path because you'll have to right from beginning you have to tell at which destination you'll have to send. You can use relative path only in when you'll have to transfer within the folders of that same constant directory. In case if you have few folders which are having the same common from source to directory, then only you can use. For example, if I have to copy the folder, now this is going, CP command is used for both copying the directory as well as copying the file. So I'm creating a copy of batch B0 and I'm storing the name as B0 backup. Check this, source and destination are using your relative paths and not the absolute batch. Now, wherever B0 is there, batch B0 folder, batch B0 directory, in the same directory, I am creating the B0 backup. So this will be created in line or in the same folder where your source is. So you'll have the copy of the folder or copy of the file within that same directory, which is your present working directory. Now check, this was the option. I'm assuming my fruits.txt is inside your roll numbers directory and the contents of fruit.txt was these. Check your roll number is within the batch, which is within the sem3, which is within the py, which is within the home. So the path for this file is slash home slash py slash sycsm3 2020 slash b0 slash roll number. So this is the whole path of the fruits.txt file. When I fire this command, cp space fruit.txt space fruitscopy.txt, check wherever this file is, it is going to create the copy within the same folder. So now my roll number folder is going to have one more file called as fruits underscore copy.txt with the contents, the same contents. But then now I have two separate files. This is where your source and destination, both of them are using your relative paths. The next command is move command, mv command. Moves a file from source to the location. Same way, similar to your copy command. Copy command just creates another copy. Move command will move that file from one location to the other. The syntax is mv followed by source followed by destination. Same rules are going to be applied on the paths over here, similar to your copy command. For example, I can move that B0 backup, which was created within B0. Now it is going to be moved on SYCS. So I'm changing the folder. Check, in one position I'm using the relative path, whereas in other position I'm using the absolute path. I'm giving the full path of that particular directory where I want to shift this. So even MV is applied either on the directories or on the files. So if the B0 backup contains subdirectories or subfiles, everything will be moved on to this particular destination. Now, this was what my previous status of the file was. Roll number folder was containing your fruits and fruits copy file. Now I want to move this fruits copy file to some other location and I'm firing this command. Mv fruits.txt space tilde, that is slash home slash py, followed by slash sem3 to this. Now check, initial location of fruits underscore copy was roll number. Now I'm moving this to sem3. So now this will be under your sem3 along with your batch folder. This is fine. Copy command and move command is okay. Along with your absolute referencings as well as relative referencings. Okay. Now since we have created the file, let me see the properties of that file. What all options does files gives me? Even file options are also called as the properties of file, or they are called as the file attributes. File has these three attributes or the options: read, write, execute. R stands for read, write, and execute. When you type down ls minus l option, it is going to give you the details of that particular file. Now you'll have this particular in the triplets. First will be for the owner, next would be for your group, and next would be for your others. So you'll have three different permissions of a single file or the directory: read, write, execute, read, write, hyphen, read, hyphen X. What does that this means? The first three combinations are of the owner. That means who has created that particular file. By default, the owner of the file is the username who has created the file. So in our case, the default user for Raspberry Pi is Pi. So that will be the owner. In case if you want to allow this particular file to be shared or to be viewed or executed by any other group, you'll have to mention that in the second. Whereas in the third part will give you for the others. Those who are not authored and authenticated, that is the guest controls. Prior to that, you will have two options. Either you will have a hyphen or a D. If it is a file, you will get hyphen. If it is D, that means that is stands for a directory. So for folders such as B0, roll number, you will find D. You won't have that option. So either one of them. So it will be D, RWX, RW hyphen R, and so on and so forth. Whereas in fruits.txt or fruitscopy.txt is a file which will be having the hyphen instead of D. This is how you can bifurcate whether it is a directory or whether it is a file. R stands for read, W stands for write, X stands for executing the file. Does it has the permission or a program application which will be executable mode? Now this is important with the Raspberry Pi. The reason is every time whenever I'll be creating a program, my sensors, my IoT device, the physical device, Raspberry Pi should have that permission to execute. Now check, you will have to embed the file that you had created into the particular hardware. So if I have a file which captures the images using the camera module of your Raspberry Pi, so I should give that particular file the executing command. Then only that Raspberry Pi camera will be switched on and you will be able to capture. In case if I don't give the executing commands option, X is not present. It is having something similar to this particular option. That means it is not executable. I cannot execute that. So in that case, I'll have to be very careful. This means you do not have the right permission. And this means you do not have the execute permission. So for others, you do not have a right permission, whereas in for group, you do not have execute permission. The file options are okay with everyone. I want you to quickly take the screenshot of this slide because this will be frequently used. Have you taken up the screenshots? Okay. Now, the next question is I have file permissions. Now, with this slide, we can see there is no execute, no write permissions for group and others. So, can I allow to change the modes so that I can provide the options of execution and writing in case if I have to? So, let's see which commands will allow you to modify the group and the others. The command that is used for changing the permissions of the file or the directory is change mode, that is chmod command. Change mode allows you to change the permissions of a file or the directory. The syntax is chmod space the mode that is you're going to provide, whether it is a read mode you want to add, or you want to remove the write permission, or you want to give the execute permission, or you want to remove execute permission to the which file. So you'll have three options. First is the command, followed by option, followed by name of the file. For example, if I have chmod space g plus x, check g was nothing but your group, plus x means I'm giving, plus means giving, minus means removing, x that is execute permission to first underscore copy dot txt. So this will modify and give the group execute permission for this particular file. So if the group is not having execute permission and I want to give him the execute permission, I'll do this. In case if I have to remove it from the others should not be able to execute. So I'll have to write down O hyphen X. Plus means append, minus means remove. So this is one way of changing your modes or the permissions of a file. Either you can append, either you can grant the permission, or you can deny the permission. For granting, you will require plus operator. For removing or for not giving an access, denying it, you will require minus option. There is other way of even providing the modes. One is this, which is seen on the screen. The other is your octal way of representing the modes. Now, before giving you the example to show you how the octal command looks like, let's see the tabular fashion hierarchy, how to find that number, the octal number. Now, if I say decimal 0, it is nothing but in octal I can write down 000. Now check, you have three bits, 1, 2, and 3. First stands for read, second is your write, third is execute. That means no read permissions, no write permissions, no execute permissions. 000 means no, 1 means yes. If the decimal is 1, my octal representation is 001. That means I am allowing, that means I'm allowing the permission for execute, and I'm not allowing the permission for read and write. Only executable files. So especially this permission will be granted only for the clients who are given the software to be used. They have only execute permission. So as a programmer, if I have to load that particular application on the client's machine, I'll have to give the file only the executable rights so that they cannot modify or they cannot read the source codes. This is what your Windows does for the proprietary softwares. So you have no read permission, no write permission, only execute permissions. Similarly, you have next, that is 2. In decimal 2, octal representation of 2 is 010. So you have only write permissions for that. The octal representation of decimal number 3 is 011. That means you have only write and execute permissions. For 4, you have 100. So that means you have only read permissions, whereas in your write and execute permissions are not present. You can only read the file. With your 5 decimal number, you have the octal representation as 101, where you have only read and execute permissions, no write permissions. With your decimal number 6, your octal representation is 110, so only read and write permissions and no octal permission, no execute permissions. Similarly, if I want to allow all the permissions, that is read, write, and execute, I have to put up 7, 7, and 7 for all three. Check, this decimal numbers can be used in triplets. The first number will be used for group, the second number will, sorry, first number will be used for the user, the next number will be used for your group, the other will be used for the others. You had three options of read, write, execute in your file system. The octal representation and the decimal representation for RWX is okay with everyone. This chart is clear, because based on this chart I'll have the next command. Quickly take the screenshot of this. Done with the screenshots? Okay. Now if I fire this command, the other way of executing chmod. Check, the command is chmod space 7 7 and 7 roots underscore copy.txt. What was 7 decimal 7? Decimal 7 provided which permissions, which permissions did it granted? All permissions, read, write, X permission. Now check, I have used three times 7, 7, and 7. That means grant the read, write, execute permissions for the owner, grant read, write permissions and execute for group, provide read, write, execution permissions for others. That means for all the three categories, I'm providing all the permissions of this particular file: O, G, and U. This is fine with RWX. O also with RWX, G also with RWX, and U also with RWX. So either you can use the first method or you can use this method. But then you should know what is this. So I'm giving you one example and I want you to tell me what does that means. So what permissions will be provided? What O will have initially? O will be granted with, give me first for O. That is owner. Owner will have Tanuj. RWX was 7. All three permissions. For owner, I have given only 5. 5 was, how would you represent 5 in octal? For Tanuj, I'm specifying it. Tanuj Kochre. Hmm. Good. So it will have only read and execute. It won't have write permissions. What does group will have? It will have it will have only your read permissions, whereas in you will have, yes, it will have only your read write permissions. Check. Those who have mistaken, this was evaluation of your 5, this was evaluation of your 4, and this was for 6. Quickly punch in your PRNs. The other command is, in case if I have to change the ownership, though you had created the file on your Raspberry Pi, so by default the logged in username was Pi. So the username being Pi, the default one, the files will be created with the name, access granted, the ownership of the creation given to the Pi. In case if you want to change it to some other permission, if you have multiple users on that particular machine and you want to share that particular with the other users as well, you can have multiple logins also. So in that case, I need to change the ownership. In case if I want to change the ownership, I'll have to use ch own command, that is change ownership. So it will allow you to change the ownership of the user's file. Rather than owing on to by default Pi, you can give it granted to anyone else. So if I assume that Pi had created the file, but then now I have to change the ownership of a file and give it to root. That is, instead of slash home slash Pi, it should be accessible prior to home. That is the root symbol. So the syntax would be chmod space username space file name. This is your general syntax. For example, the command would be that I'll be firing is ch own space root and the name of the file. By default, fruits.txt file was having pi as the username, as the file creator. So file was being created by the user pi, and now I have to grant the file permissions and I have to change the ownership and put up root. So this is how your command is going to be. So this is where I'm changing instead of pi. Now you will be able to see that the file name is the file ownership is changed to root. Chmod and chown. That is change mode and change ownership commands are clear with everyone. Any queries in ch command, that is change files, change permissions and change ownership commands? Shall we move ahead? So far the file that we created was using the commands, but there are two editors which exist in your Raspberry Pi Linux. One is Nano Editor. Now this is non-GUI editor, Nano Editor. This will allow you to create the file. It will similarly open a text editor of your notepad, but then notepad is a GUI editor of Windows machine, which is supported by Windows. Similar to Windows GUI editor, you have some other editor named as gedit in Linux, but then that is a GUI editor. Now this is a non-GUI editor. What do I mean by non-GUI? You won't be able to see the files, such as you won't be able to see the menus, you won't be able to see the title bar, you won't have the interactive sessions. You'll have another command terminal which is opened, similar to your command terminal of your Linux. So, but with a good thing is this: it is simple, modeless, and what you see is what you get. This acronym is being followed by your nano. So whatever you see on the nano editor, it is what you're going to get in the outputs, in the files. So this is similar to your GUI's thing. So whatever you're going to see, same way. You don't have to remember your VI commands. You have done VI editor in your Linux, so you don't have to remember all those. This is much more simpler as compared to VI. Syntax for that is, you'll have to write down the nano command, nano, followed by the file name. Now this file name could be absolute file name directly, or it can be reference file name. So you'll have to either provide the full path where you want to save the file, in case if your current directory is home, the default directory. In case if you have changed the directory, then you can use your relative paths. For example, nano space bingo.txt. So this was going to create the bingo.txt file within the nano editor, and it will open the editor. Now after this, it is going to save this file automatically in the directory which you're standing. That is your present working directory. Once you type down nano.bingo.txt, you will get another editor where you can type in the contents of the file, whatever you want to type. So if you want to type some contents, you can type over there. Or if you want to write a program inside that, the Python program, you can write down the Python program within that. The next commands, these were your basic commands of your file system. The next category is search. Now this is very important. In the search category, the very strong command is grep command. That is global regular expression print. grep stands for global regular expression print. Now this grep is very powerful. It searches the patterns. It uses your wildcard characters such as star, plus, minus, question mark, so and so forth. Star stands for all, plus stands for one to be appended, minus stands for remove, question mark stands for at least one, at the most one, and so forth. So you have wildcard characters which are present in your programming languages or on the Linux machine, it can be used with grep to format, to give the regular expression or to formulate your regular expressions. The syntax would be grep followed by what you want to search, the pattern, where you want to search, the file name. Example, we had fruits.txt file. Within that fruit.txt, I'm searching a keyword as this: grep space apple space fruits.txt. So it is going to search for apple inside your fruits.txt. Check your fruits.txt was containing apple word twice, for the first line and for the third line, as a full string and as a part of a string of pineapple. So this is going to give you both the lines of that file. It is going to give you the line number and the full path, full name apple on one line number one, and line number three as pineapple, because even that pineapple has apple as the part of the string within the fruits.txt. So grep gives you the string to be searched as the whole, and the line number as the part of the string. So this is going to give you the statement somewhere in the middle. You have this particular keyword, it is going to print that full line and it is going to highlight that. So grep command is very powerful. Now here I have used only a simple string. You can use any combination of your regular expressions. If I write down slash d, it is going to search for the digits. If I write down slash d in the bracket such as d's, it is going to find out only the characters of small a and small z. If I write down this, it is going to remove. And if I write down this, it is going to search for four consecutive digits, and so on and so forth. So these are your regular expressions which the grep command allows you to use. Now, I'm not going into the depth of the regular expressions because you have done in many other languages. You have even done in Python, you have even done in Linux, you are even doing it in your JavaScript, and so on and so forth. Even you have done in your previous session. So grep command is basically based on your search. Your search should be specific, and it is going to search the within the files. The grep is okay. Then there are networking commands. The first networking command is ifconfig. This gives you the details of your machine, the interfaces, how to which the Raspberry Pi is connected. Are you connected to the using the Ethernet, or are you connected using via Wi-Fi connection, or are you connected using your both? So it gives you all the commands, all the network details, whether it is wired, wireless, as well as local host details. So what is the IP address of that particular functions? It is going to display everything. So ifconfig followed by interface name. Now interface name is an optional, it is not compulsory. If I type down ifconfig, just it is going to list all the available interfaces. It is going to give you the wired connections, it is going to give you the wireless connections, as well as the local connections, that is local host. But then in case if you want to see the details of only one specific interface, that is say suppose wired ethernet, I'll have to give the name of that ethernet, what it is connected to. The default name of that RJ45 when it is connected, it is ETH0. You can change it this could be changed by your networking administrator at the time of installation. So if I assume the network administrator in the Raspberry Pi, while setting up the network, has changed the interface name. Instead of ETH0, it has given you CHMCS. So I'll have to mention ifconfig CHMCS. Then only it is going to give me the details of the configurations of the interface which are present on the internet of the current system. So ifconfig gives you all the information of all the connections, whether it is wired, wireless, or local, whereas an ifconfig name of the interface gives you the specific details of that particular interface. The next networking command is ping command. Using ping command, you can find out whether the communication is there with the host or not. That means establishing the connection between the network and the host. That is whether your Raspberry Pi is able to send the data to the router or to the gateway or not, or whether it is able to receive or not. So ping is the utility which will help you to check. If you get the results of ping command, that means it is successful. Else it will give you request timed out and so on and so forth. Or if it is not reachable. The syntax is ping space the IP address or ping space the domain name. So either you can type down ping space 192.168.0.18, the IP address of the machine, or you can even type down the domain name to check whether it is available or not. But then the domain name should be your correct domain name. So if I want to search whether it is pinging properly to the Google or not, I'll write down this. If I want to search whether it is connected to CHMCS, I'll write down the URL of your CHM college. This is okay with everyone. Search commands and networking commands. The next networking command is the host name. Now, IP address will give you the IP address, but then even the IP address of the local machine has the name given to the host. So, if I want to check what is the name of my machine, that is the Raspberry Pi, I'll have to type down the host name. So, if you type down the host name, it is going to give you the host. What is the name of your Raspberry Pi of your machine? So by default, in our case, it will be Raspberry Pi after the at the rate symbol. Pi was the username. The host name, if you remember, my terminal was showing me Raspberry Pi. Remember, your terminal was having this. So the host, this was your username, the default user, whereas in this was your host name. So if you type down host name, it is going to give you the output as Raspberry Pi, the default one, in case if your network administrator haven't changed it. This is fine with the host name. So with this, we complete your networking commands. So far, we have completed your directory and system file listing commands. We have even seen your networking commands and search commands. And for today, we are stopping here. So if you have any query, join me in the next session or the next lecture. Is that okay with everyone? Okay.